Hello and welcome to A Gypsy's Kiss. It's the Daily Show and we're here with Monday Mysteries and I'm Shelley Carney. That's no mystery.
No, that's no mystery at all. We know who you are. And I'm Toby Eunice. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have a unplanned show for you tonight. Unplanned in the sense that we had something going. We were planning to talk about the Havana Syndrome, which has finally been at least partially scientifically, they came to a scientific conclusion as to what was bothering everybody. But then, of course, our treasure finder pops up, the Fenn treasure finder pops up. So we thought we'd talk about that for just a little bit. Got a short show tonight. It's only 45 minutes long because we do have COVID conversations at 7 o'clock. So if you have any commentary, I know that there are other things going on today and tonight. So stick with us for a little while. We'll have a good time. I don't think we have any giveaways either. So what the dingle-rama here? Let's go with it. Because I haven't updated it like you asked me to.
Okay.
So what I think I'm going to do is, I'm going to go back to our live stream here just to make sure. What I think I'm going to do is, I'm going to run you through the articles. And if you have any comments or questions, we've come to our own conclusions about this. But if you have any comments or questions, please either post them in the chat room or if you'd like, text them to 202-815-1171 and we will keep an eye out for them. Let me see.
So Britt Chaser's in the room, says he can't stay long because he's in the UK. Of course, it's the middle of the night for him. Wants to know if we checked back on our emails with Jack. Well, we are trying. We couldn't find him in the emails, but maybe in the comments or chat on some of those videos that came out about the same time as he posted his video in June of 2019. So if you guys want to help us look for anything like that, you can look for his comments or chat on some of those videos during that time period. Maybe we can find something.
Something there. I did go back. Britt asked, did you already answer this question? Yeah. Britt asked if we had gone back through our emails. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. So, no, got nothing. But I guess I shouldn't be surprised at that. It was a long time ago. I'm interested because there was a period in which we were interviewing people connected with a chase. And it wasn't that period. It wasn't June.
Yeah, it was. We in June of that month of 2019, we interviewed that mayor. Remember the mayor of that small town? He wanted to find it to improve his town.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Josh somebody, Turner or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. So we were doing interviews.
Oh, interesting. So did he he must have gotten in touch with us. I got to tell you that when I saw the name, when I read both articles this morning, and I didn't recognize the name at all. The guy looked familiar to me for some reason, and then I figured out why. There's a young man. Well, I say young in comparison to me, and he runs an organization that's he started with a website, and it's all about drones and getting your Part 107 license and drone classes, and he keeps up to date. I can't remember his name, but he looks exactly the same. He's got that look about him, and that's who I thought it was at first. Then I realized, no, it's not the same person. The second thing was that he lives in New York. Sounds like he's been a writer for a long time because he worked both for Wonkette, which was an online political
and the Onion
website. He's working for the Onion now, according to his
he's back to the Onion
bio. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So he's working for the Onion, and I don't know how much you guys know about the Onion, but the Onion is a
satirical.
It's a satirical website. It's satirical blog posts, but it's so good at its satire that some people think that sometimes they post stuff that's real.
Yeah,
And,
they take it as real.
and they take it as real. Yeah. So you have to be very cautious. So anytime you see something from The Onion, it is not news. It is satire. And they do a really good job. And he seems to be that kind of person, the kind of person that has that, kind of sense of humor. And I saw some of the work that he did at Wonkette, and there was another one that they mentioned that he had done work at. And he had that same very dry, teasing sense of humor. He's the kind of person that would tell you something that was that you wouldn't know if he was joking or not. And when you don't know if he's joking or not, the joke's on you. That's kind of what it is. So, very interesting guy. So I went through the article.
Broccoli Rock says, I am Jack, the finder of the Forrest Fenn treasure chest. Hey, Broccoli Rocks.
Hey,
if
Broccoli
you want
Rocks.
to text us at 202-815-1171, we can talk.
So that's the article that appeared in Medium, which is where his article of a couple of months ago appeared, except that this time it appears under his name and his account, his Medium account, the Jack, and I'm pronouncing it Steph because that's what it looks like to me, Steph account, along with
Gonna
photographs
show that
of
on
him.
the screener.
Yeah, let's do that. So that's that. You can see he has, this time they posted photos with him and Forrest in the same photo, and everybody must have gone to Starbucks beforehand. So, and for the people, and I think we made this assessment when he read his first article, we thought, son of a gun, the guy's a writer. He has to be a writer, or this is a ghostwriter having written it for him. Well, apparently he is a writer, and a very good one. He has a couple of links that he refers us to. One is to the story that was written by Dan Barbarisi. I didn't want to do that. I want to open that in another window. Oh, I've already got it open in another window. So there's more photos of him and Fenn together. And this is the photo that I thought to myself, I do know this guy. I know him from somewhere. So maybe we had some kind of contact. Dan is an old friend of ours. He came to visit us out in New Mexico. He's the one that's writing a book. And that book is due out in June of next year, On the Chase. And he was covering it from all angles. He had written one book prior to this, and it was a book about gambling, the what do they call it? Not gaming, online gaming, but the kind that's sports related.
Oh, yeah.
And it was it was on the New York Times bestseller list for a couple of weeks. So a lot of old pictures of Forrest, and that we've all seen before. And then in the article, he also refers to a rambling over intellectualized video to YouTube in 2019, and that is that one on cognitive bias. And of course, I don't know whether you've seen the video already or not, but within the first few minutes of the video, he says that he made this video because he was going to be talking to Gypsy's Kiss, but something happened. And it never came together. So I don't know what we were doing around that time. If you guys can figure out based on our videos what we were doing around that time, I'm going to guess maybe it was vacation. Where did we go in 2019?
Rio de los Pinos. Several times.
Oh, maybe it was that. Maybe that's what happened. So we never did get him on, but we must have communicated with one another because he was very confident. If you go to his channel, the other neat thing about his channel is that he has another video on there, and he got this video as a result of it's not called a FOIA in New Mexico. It is the New Mexico state equivalent of a FOIA.
Rolling one.
Freedom of Information Act. And it was the video that was shot on behalf of New Mexico True. I don't know if you guys remember it, but New Mexico True, which is kind of the promotional branch of the state of New Mexico for the state of New Mexico, did a short promo video about the treasure hunt that included pieces of this interview. So he went through all the trouble of getting a FOIA request for this. The state had actually didn't have it. It's not unusual for states just to get kind of rid of this stuff as their archives build up. Excuse me. And so he went. The state referred him to the original producer of the video because a lot of that work is contracted out. I've done work for the state of New Mexico when I first came back to New Mexico, and it was contracted out. He got in touch with the individual, and when the state of New Mexico pays you with taxpayer funds for your work, you can't copyright the work. It belongs to the people of the state of New Mexico, effectively. So the guy very graciously turned it over to him, and he posted it on his YouTube channel. So I'll put that in there as well. Let me put these links in the chat room so that you guys have them. So this link is to the Forrest Fenn video interview. It's a long interview. It's almost 50 minutes long. And then this is his article, his YouTube video on cognitive bias. So let me copy that. I'll put it in the website. In the chat room. And then the last one was the Outside Magazine, one that was written by Dan Barbarisi. So you have all of them in here. And at the end of the show, I'll put them in the description box below, so in case you're not reading the chat. So all in all, it was an interesting day. I went through both articles. Shelley went through both articles. And why don't you go first? What was your generalized opinion of the matter?
Well, although we were looking in New Mexico, I did feel like that the best way to work at the poem was to understand Forrest and what he would be thinking and the words he used, and that's kind of why I was doing those videos, Important Words. Of course, Jack was way ahead of me on figuring those things out. But that is what Forrest Fenn always said to do, was to read the poem and to just work it out as to matching it up with places on a map. So basically was confirming that what Forrest told people to do was the right thing. And those who did do that got closer than those who did not, I guess. Other than that, I feel like he's just trying to be very helpful, without giving everything away, without giving away, where it was. And yet saying, just because you didn't figure out where it was doesn't mean you weren't smart or you weren't close or you weren't doing due diligence or whatever. He was trying to be, kind and generous in his opinion of others. I thought, we always wanted somebody who deserved the treasure to find the treasure. I think he deserves the treasure. He did the work. He spent 25 days out there in that spot looking.
Over a 2-year period. He didn't give up. He was very determined. And, he has been trying to find a way to sell the treasure and yet still have it be in some way on display for people to either look at or to split it up so that people can purchase something out of the chest that they really wanted, if that comes to be. So I think he's doing his very best to make as many people happy as he can without giving it all away, which again, I don't think he should give it away. I don't think he should give us where it was, just for the fact of, if you think about the monolith, or you think about the flowers on the mountain in Colorado, and everybody's got to go up there and Instagram them, and they stomp all over the flowers, and then they're all dead, and they've just, because they had to go take their Instagram photo with it, and it's just it kind of ruins things, because when the word gets out, everybody's got to go there and trample around on the nature until it's dead, and that's just what we do. So I agree with him not releasing where it was. So there are several things that I thought came out of the article, but I thought, and I'll go through that, but I think you're right about whether or not we'll ever find out where the treasure was. Like you, I believe we'll never find out. I
Not
think
unless we
he'll
figure it out on our own. No.
right. He'll take that secret with him to his death, and maybe that's the point. If we want to figure out where it was, we've got to go at the poem in the kind of way that he said it. He did, and I think it's interesting in it, and he reiterated both from Forrest's perspective and his perspective that it was all about the poem. That he made a comment, and you said it earlier. I'm not going to be able to remember it verbatim, but it was something like you had to figure out what an old man was trying to say, or where an old man was what an old man was trying to tell you, as opposed to all the other things that have come out since. I think he put a quash on anything that isn't really a way to find the treasure without understanding the poem in its entirety. I think you'd have to. There'd be a very difficult argument to make. That'd be a very difficult argument to make. So that was the first thing. I do not believe that we're ever going to find out where. And all he has to do is look at the results of the impact of the monoliths, the various monoliths in Utah, California. And oh, by the way, I thought I'd share this with you. Turns out that look at this. We in Albuquerque got our first monolith, and whoever did it was smart enough to put it in a place that doesn't get much more public than this. That's the intersection of I-25. I recognize that. And I actually recognize the hotel. That's the intersection of I-25, not the intersection, but where the merge lane on Pan American Freeway comes into I-25 at Montano. So it's right there on the side of the road. So I don't know what impact that's going to have and
there's a parking lot behind REI.
It. Yeah.
So people can park and take a selfie with the monolith and
right. So they said that people were flocking to the parking lot behind the REI de Monday to get a glimpse and even a selfie of the monolith. Manager RE said one of his employees saw 3 people placing the 10-foot monolith behind the store Sunday evening around 5:30 p.m. Now, it was the other thing that we found. So this is a Twitter post from our mayor, the mayor of Albuquerque. I say our mayor. I'm in
Twitter.
Bernalillo.
Oh yeah, Twitter. Yeah.
He says, "We want to believe monolith has been spotted in ABQ. What do you think it means?" And it means that it'll be taken down. But the point that I was trying to make. So we have this one.
I think
in
it's on
Albuquerque.
public land there. That strip.
It is.
It's a right of way, isn't it?
It's right of way, and it's interstate, so it's federal land. Effectively, anything to do with the 100 feet either side of it is federal land. So sooner or later, the feds might get upset, but it's no more a distraction than any of the other signs around.
At least there's a parking lot right there.
Yeah.
So if you want to go and you want to park and take a picture, you can.
And it's our only REI in town. I've been to it a lot. It's one of my favorite stores to go into. So we may go get some pictures and stuff. We'll bring them back to you. The point that I was trying to make, though, is that if you look at how each of these other things, now the monolith is certainly doesn't have the, and I'm going to use this word lightly, the religious significance. There's a religion associated with the Fenn treasure. And we were all part of that religion, right? We believed, we had faith. So it required a little bit of belief and faith. And the monoliths didn't have that. But the minute they were discovered, in the case of the one in Utah, there were people, that decided they had to see it, and in the process destroyed, had a negative impact on the flora and fauna of that very. People think that the desert is a really tough place. It is relatively tough, but once you start driving RVs through it, it's going to destroy flora and fauna and habitat. But that's what everybody did once they found out where it was. Half of America, that's probably an exaggeration. A lot of people who decided they wanted to go up there and take it down. Then there were people who decided, no, that's part of nature. It's in the wrong place, and we're not going to do that. We're not going to allow that to happen. So they took it down and what's a push cart that you use in the garden? Wheelbarrowed it out of there. Luckily, there was a guy there to record that, if not visually by words on his Twitter or his Instagram account. Same thing happened in Romania. Same thing happened to the one in California. So the public was divided between people who just wanted to see it at any cost, because I don't know whether it's the virus or what. Everybody has to get out and do something. So, and they don't care what impact that they have on the surrounding area. Yeah. In the case of the one in California, apparently it was an evangelical group that felt like it was an affront to their, and in this case, real religious beliefs. They ended up walking up, and the only thing people remember about it is they were singing. What was that song?
I don't know, some kind of hymn.
A religious hymn on their way up to take it down. So think about this. Think about the location of the Forrest Fenn treasure. What do you think is going to happen, right? First of all, people are going to go there. They're going to get there at all costs, not that it requires anything special. Before you know it, the whole area not only has been trampled upon, which is not what Forrest, this is a place he was going to die. I mean, it's like Forrest's Calvary, right? It was where he was going to die. So it had, for him, it did. You
got to imagine that monolith, right? The monolith. You saw pictures of people sitting on it, standing on it, standing on each of their shoulders. How many pictures of that did you see that were just like crazy? And why would people do that? Yeah. The same thing's going to happen in that place.
Yeah. And not only that, then people are going to start leaving stuff. They're going to start, first of all, they're going to look to see if Forrest or the finder left anything there, so they're going to start digging it up.
They'll start treating it like his gravesite or something, and leaving all these notes and messages and flowers and candles and everything else. Yeah. Before you know it, there's a forest fire.
And then there are people that are going to be angry. They were angry at Forrest for doing the treasure hunt and then not finding it. They were angry at the finder for finding it before they did. So they're going to go and they're going to say to themselves, I'm going to be destructive, just like those folks that took down the monoliths. So the world is, I don't want to say equally divided between people who will do it unintentional damage, right? And then people, a smaller 7%, who will do it intentional damage. In a disrespectful way, and no matter how respectful you are, you're still going to have an impact, right? And as a matter of fact, the guys in Utah, their line as they were exiting the wash was "Leave no trace," right? That's you bring in everything you bring in, you take out with you, leave no trace, and that was their point. That this wasn't a place for something where it was recognizably human. A human had been there. So the other thing, speaking of monoliths, it turns out there's an art group in Santa Fe that's responsible for the one in Utah and now the one here, and you can actually buy one. I looked it up. I was going to buy it, but it's $45,000 because I
$45,000?
$45,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm curious.
I guess some guy in Texas, I think it was, he owns a candy store. He built his own and put it up in front of his candy store, so people would come to his candy store, take pictures by the monolith, and come on in and buy some candy while you're here.
Well, I've got that damn welder that's been in my garage now, that arc welder that's been in my garage for, oh no, I gave it to Jason. I'll have to buy it back from him.
I'll just have him make one.
Oh, if anybody could.
He's a tin worker. He can do it.
No, he's also, when he was in A&P school, he knows how to weld and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
There you go.
I want one for my front yard.
There you go. Everybody has to have one now.
So the likelihood of us ever getting, the likelihood of the finder ever revealing where Fenn hid the treasure, I think is slim, what did my dad used to say? Slim to none. And I think that the finder has, the perspective of the finder as you read the articles, the perspective is, no, it's I think he even referred to it once as sacred. It's a sacred place, and he's never going to reveal it. So that leaves it, and it puts us in an interesting situation as former treasure hunters, is do we want to go through the trouble of figuring it out ourselves, which would be interesting. because you could still figure out the poem. I don't know that we know any more about it now than we did. We know it's in Wyoming, and we know that he had to look for it. He also mentioned that the reason he had trouble with the blaze was that it had been damaged. So the question was that he never did say, and I'd like to hear it from him. I did send an email to him, by the way, asking if he'd be interested in being on the show. I'd like to hear more about the damage to the blaze. The other couple of things that I thought were interesting in the articles were the fact that he's still looking for a seller, that the treasure chest is here in New Mexico, in a safe place here in New Mexico. So I imagine he found a safe deposit box here in New Mexico to put it in, that he didn't travel with it, which is one of the things that we recommended you not do. And that he's still looking for a buyer, and that at some point Forrest had offered to put him in touch with someone, an institution, who might be interested in buying it. Excuse me. But as a result of Forrest's passing, that possibility never came to fruition. I'm sure that doesn't necessarily mean he isn't trying, but I would conclude, based on very skimpy evidence, that if Forrest offered to intervene on his behalf to get it sold to an institution, that institution would likely be the Cody Museum, because the treasure was in Wyoming, and because Forrest had such a strong and multidimensional and rich relationship with the Cody Museum, which in and of itself would be damned interesting. You'd think that's where it would go. So he hasn't eliminated that problem. I think as a result of this publicity and the fact that he put his email address in that article, there may be individual buyers who may now get in touch with him and offer him something to sell the treasure to them. So that was the other thing. And then what was the third thing? The third thing was, we're never going to find out where it was. There's a good chance it could end up in an institution, hopefully the Cody. The Cody Museum strikes me as the appropriate place for it, because it's going to attract traffic one way or the other. And to me, that's a lot, it can be a substitute, quote, sacred place, unquote, for it. They're playing some video of this monolith spotted in Albuquerque. It's hard not to spot it, considering it's...
right by Albuquerque, the magazine.
Yeah, well, that's the REI store right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, hang on.
People waiting in line with their masks on.
Yeah, hold on. You guys got to see this. So, this is KOB's story about the monolith. Let me show you. So, I can't play a lot of it, but that's people just standing around. And New Mexico has a mask requirement. There's the monolith. If you look over here, let's see. Let me see if I can go back here. So that's the monolith on I-25. There's their close-up of it. So maybe if I'm sure we'll lose our monetization here, but that's the REI store in Albuquerque magazine, which is our city magazine. People already stopping on I-25. How soon do you think it'll be before somebody gets their car smashed? Yeah, got the selfie. Going on Instagram.
Well, I don't know why they can't come around and go in the parking lot. They have to pull over on the road instead.
Because on that side of the road, if you don't, it's the one-way Pan Am. If you don't go to the previous exit and pick it up in the previous exit, you have to go all the way around I-25 to catch up to it, right? You can't go to that exit there at Montano and make a U-turn, because it's a one-way there.
You can get off and go on the side streets until you get there.
Yeah, well, if you go, that's what you should do, actually. Get off, drive around to, what's that first street there?
I don't know.
It's where Sportsman's Warehouse is, and then turn into the REI. There's what's your brother-in-law's company?
PetSmart?
Yeah, there's a PetSmart.
That's my brother.
Oh, sorry. Oh, your brother.
Yes.
Oh, how did I get that mixed up?
So Broccoli says, can you point me to any place where Forrest Fenn said he didn't want people to know the location? Well, if you look at the article that was written by Jack in Medium, he says that he and Forrest agreed together not to reveal the location. So other than that, I think Forrest wanted to leave it up to the finder. So
It's always what Forrest did say is it was up to the finder what to do.
yeah,
Right. So he did say that. I don't think he ever thought about it. And again, he couldn't say that because at least the finder would find the location. Right. So he can't make a blanket statement. I don't want anybody to know where it was, because at least the finder would have to know where it was. And then, as Forrest said, it's up to the finder. Oh, that's what I thought. The other thing that I thought was interesting, the gold frog, which we didn't see in any of the pictures, wasn't in the treasure chest. And apparently it was like Forrest forgot to put it in or something. So he gave him the gold frog and one other, the Spanish emerald ring that was found near, it wasn't found on San Lazaro. It was found near San Lazaro by someone else who was metal detecting. So it wasn't a San Lazaro find, and it would make sense that it was. But that didn't appear in the box, nor, I guess, did Forrest give it to him. So
he couldn't find it. He didn't know where
Right.
it went. So
yeah, I don't see any of that happening, Debbie. I don't think we'll ever get a chance to know where it was unless we figure it out. And it's an interesting problem to solve.
yeah, it's still solvable apparently, and you know. Now that you know somebody has solved it, so it is solvable.
So we
You
know that
still
the
want
poem
to
is
look for
solved.
the place.
We know that someone solved the clues in the poem, so it is solvable. The question is, what would motivate you to go there? What
At this point,
Well,
yeah.
at this point, what would motivate you to go to continue analyzing the poem to figure out where the treasure was, and then what do you do, right? Let's say, and I'm just using this as a hypothetical, let's say Shelley and Toby figured out the location of the treasure, where it was hidden. They go there. There are obvious indications that it was there, including the destroyed blaze. Then what? Then what do you do? Do you share that with the world when you know that Forrest didn't want you to do that, nor the finder, the guy that found it, wanted you to do that? I mean, it doesn't do you any good. I guess you could do it and go visit it yourself and be satisfied that you figured it out as well, except that you did it in such a way that you didn't have the treasure, right? Right
Came
now,
in second place.
right? It's not a very satisfying second place.
Right.
You don't get any treasure, and you probably don't get any recognition for finishing second.
And then
as usual.
if you did share the area, the place, people might get angry at you for it.
Yeah,
So
for
there's
sure,
no
yeah.
win.
Yeah, it's
There's
a
no
no-win
win.
situation. I was thinking about this the other night. I was watching I watch a lot on the History Channel and the Armed Forces Channel. It's AMC, American Military Channel. And they were talking about World War II, and they were talking about the end of the war in the Pacific, where America dropped the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And in the article, they mentioned, of course, the name of the bomber that bombed Hiroshima. The name of the bomber was Enola Gay, and it was named after the commanding officers, the pilot's mother. That was her name, Enola Gay. That's what he named his plane. And then they went on to Nagasaki, and it struck me, I've never heard the name of the aircraft that carried the second bomb over Nagasaki. So if anybody knows, just out of curiosity, what the name of that
Why
aircraft
didn't you ask at the nuclear museum?
You know what? I should have thought about that.
You can call them.
I guess I could call them. They'd tell us, but it's closed like everything else, all the federal.
Well, right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta wait till it's open again. Forrest said it wasn't important if the end location was known.
Yeah, damaged. Did I say destroyed? I didn't mean to say destroyed. I meant damaged because that was what the finder did. So read those articles. I think Amy has been talking about this all night long, and I know that Christy and Mike had a show plan. Let me see if they're up already. Give me a second.
Everybody.
Quit until it's real.
Yeah. And it's they're on with Cynthia and Justin Posey. So that'll make an interesting show if you want to just jump over there. We wanted to, there are some of our viewers that probably hadn't seen this, although I'm sure that everybody has. So we wanted to get on, talk a little bit about it. We'll go back next week on Mystery Monday, and we will talk about the Havana Syndrome because I had some experience. I didn't personally have some experience, but I knew people who had experience with it. And the coverage has been amazing on it now that they've actually released the research. Apparently, they've had the research for a couple of years, and the Senate Intelligence Committee didn't want to release it. Senate Intelligence Committee didn't want to release it, which was damned stupid because we had some other people impacted. And it must
Joe says Boxcar was the bomber.
Oh, Tibbets, the mother of the pilot, Colonel Paul Tibbets. Where was that one? Where did you see that? Oh, Boxcar was the bomber. I'm a big history fan, and so I end up watching those channels where they talk about stuff that absolutely nobody cares about.
Well, thanks for being here, Hooli. And, we were only going to be on for 45 minutes, and they're probably going to be on the rest of the night. So, hey, check us out for the first 45 and then head over.
Yeah. I mean, they have 312 watching. I'm looking at it right now. So there's 312 people over there, and we're not a Forrest Fenn channel. So important to get over there and share some of this information with them.
We just wanted to, finish out the whole mystery of who found it. Of course, he finally came forward because of the whole lawsuit issue, and his name was going to be outed anyway. So he thought he might as well get ahead of that. And let his story be heard while he had a chance.
Yeah. So I think that not that it didn't end it for me, because when I saw his first article in Medium, I was comfortable that we had a finder. There was a treasure. Forrest did hide a treasure, and we had somebody that found it, and it was Wyoming. The closest I can come to being satisfied with all of that is maybe it was somewhere around the Sinks Canyon area, because that's where we searched in Wyoming. So
let's see. Craig Carter says Boxcar, sometimes called Boxcar, is the name of the United States Army Air Force's B-29 bomber that dropped a Fat Man nuclear weapon over the Japanese city of Nagasaki. Very good.
So he didn't name it after his mother, apparently.
Boxcar.
All right, guys, so that's it for us tonight. We just wanted to recognize Jack Stuef, the finder, congratulate him on his success, and wish him the best. And hopefully, if the court is wise in its ways, it will drop the case eventually. I don't know how it's made it this far because of how the poor quality of the case and how conflicted it is. I think they're just giving her a chance to keep pushing more information, but I don't see it getting much further than preliminary hearing. But there would have been a subpoena issued requiring the name of the finder. So I think what he did was smart. And it certainly brings additional, I don't know how much more you need for closure. I guess we would all like to see the treasure, and who knows, that may be put in a museum somewhere sometime, and then we can go see it then.
Yeah.
All right? So
in a place that's safe to go and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys have a good evening. We're going to go over to COVID conversations. If you want to learn more about the coronavirus and the impact it's having, join us over there and at 7 o'clock our time. All right? And then tomorrow on our daily show, on our Tech Talk, get it? Tech Talk show, we're actually going to Zoom me in from my kitchen. And the reason we're going to do that is because I promised everybody.
Because you can't go out in the field. It's going to be in the kitchen. Here's Toby Unis reporting from the kitchen.
And we're going to be talking about the tools and technology that we use to give us the best possible chance of looking good on a Zoom call. And you know, anytime we are on a Zoom call, you can see our little frame, and it always looks a little bit better as a result of the camera, the lighting, the audio, etc. So what we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to show you exactly what we use in order to get that effect. And it starts with having Zoom on your smartphone. Because that's the best possible picture. Then it's a question of lighting and audio, and we're going to share all of that with you tomorrow. All right? And not only are we going to zoom me in from the kitchen Zoom, but we're also going to have another camera so that you can see exactly what I'm using. That so you can, and we'll put links to the stuff in the description box for that show. So join us tomorrow night. Should be a lot of fun and look better when you do a Zoom call or any other kind of call online. Call with the new technologies, because it's become very popular.
Or if you want to make your own TikTok video,
Exactly.
You want to get the lighting and the audio just right.
If you have lighting, audio, and a good camera, all you need after that is either the ability to dance in skimpy clothing or make a broad political statement on either side of the algorithm, or have a cute baby, apparently.
Or cook something.
Yeah. So we do have a TikTok channel. We don't have 1,000 subscribers yet. Actually, we don't have any subscribers yet. But
so if you're on TikTok,
hook us up with get us because we'll start doing live streams on TikTok for the heck of it. But it's a fun channel. It's very easy to use, and they make it fun in the way that they do it. The 60-second long videos. The only bad thing about it is once you start swiping on one of those, you realize oh, I've just been doing this for 3 hours now. It's addictive. They figured out that model.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Well, we thank you all for being here with us this evening. We know you have lots of choices when it comes to learning about Forrest Fenn stuff, and we appreciate that you were here with us. So thank you, Davio, Joe Sharon, Kelly Abbott Bowl, Journeyman, Hooley, Brian Ulrich, very important, Truck and Treasure, Wade Key, Craig Carter, and X Marks the Spot, JK Pioneer.
Oh, Wade says there was one guy that was on both bombings in Japan. Wow.
And Larry Kingsley.
Okay, guys, thanks for answering that question.
Broccoli Rocks.
Thanks for answering that question for me. I appreciate it because it's been bugging me. I didn't know it.
See? Our chat room, they're so smart. Wait, all we got to do is ask them, and they'll probably figure it out.
Give them a problem.
They solve it.
And they solve it like that, don't they?
They love solving them problems.
All right. So here, think about this for the next time we have one of these kinds of open conversations. How do we want to go about solving Forrest Fenn's poem to the extent that we can put a pinpoint on a map? Or do we want to do that? The problem. Maybe the problem is
letting it go.
Either letting it go and accepting what's happened, or do we want to be the people that figures out where Forrest Fenn hid and Jack Stuef found the Forrest Fenn treasure? Think about it. That's an interesting problem to solve. All right. Thanks, you guys. Buenas noches.